Today I'm gonna make a delicious variation on a pavlova with cranberry curd and citrus. I'm starting off here at the stove because I'm gonna make my curd first because it needs to chill. You'll need 12 ounces of cranberries. You can use fresh or frozen, about 3 cups. But that's also the size of the standard bag. 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar and 2/3 of a cup of fresh orange juice. And you're gonna cook it with 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt until the cranberries burst. And that'll take, well, it depends on how long. It usually doesn't actually take that long. A few minutes. You're making cranberry sauce here, but then it's gonna get strained. That's the juice that you're gonna use to make your curd. I don't know if you've ever made lemon curd before, but this is a very similar method, but you have to start off by getting a juice or making a juice. So stir those together. While you're waiting, you can separate some eggs. You need 2 yolks and 1 whole egg. Whole egg. And then you're gonna save your whites because whites are what you use to make pavlova. So you wanna use these and not get rid of them. Here's a little hint. Separating eggs is much easier when they're cold, but whipping whites is much easier when it's room temperature. So you should try to separate your eggs cold, but then let them sit for a while to come to room temperature. You get more volume that way. When your cranberries have broken down enough, that should take about 10 minutes, I'd say, stir in 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter off the heat. Remove it from the heat. Then you're gonna pass the whole mixture through a sieve so that you can discard the solids. I'm gonna try to not get this on me, so I'm gonna use a ladle to transfer it. I was gonna just pour it through, but I was definitely gonna get cranberry on myself. I'll consider it a personal triumph if I get through this without a big stain on my shirt. Then press on it with a spatula to get as much of the liquid out as possible, and then just leaving the solids behind. I feel like I'm really close to making it. All right, now what you want to do is whisk 1 cup of this cranberry mixture into those eggs. So it was the 2 egg yolks and 1 whole egg. Whisk 1 cup of this in there. And the rest of the cranberry juice goes into a pot. I'm so nervous that I'm gonna get cranberry juice on myself. All right, I gotta let go of that. I mean, it's not like this is the only shirt I own. But then it would mess up my hair. And oh, I hope you're talking about my hair because it's new. All right, whisk. This is called tempering. What you do is you whisk a hot mixture into eggs slowly so that it does not curdle when you cook it with the rest of your mixture. So you whisk that in and then you whisk the entire egg and cranberry mixture into the other cranberry stuff. Then you want to cook this all together. And what's going to happen is the eggs and the egg yolks are going to thicken the cranberry mixture, and that's how you have curd. Don't worry too much though, because I know that you think, oh, like cooking eggs, it's gonna turn into scrambled eggs. I'm really nervous. There's a lot of acidity and a lot of sugar in this recipe, and both of those things actually do protect your eggs from curdling. And if you do find that there's like a little bit of curdling, even after you've tempered, even after all that sugar and acid, you can strain it in the end through a fine sieve, and that will remove any little bits of cooked egg. So this is bubbling in the center. I do see a couple of pieces of cooked egg, so I am gonna strain it through a fine sieve. And anyway, the sieve that I was using was kind of coarse, and that had some of the seeds went through, and I kind of don't want that many seeds, the cranberry seeds, in here, so I'm gonna pass this through. Yet another sieve. I know, it's annoying, but this is a fancy dessert, and you want it to be really, really perfect. Okay, I think this is gonna make it better. Once you pass it through the sieve, then you have to let it completely cool. And you can do this a day ahead, 2 days ahead. Just make sure that you cover it so that it doesn't get any refrigerator flavors, blah, 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 all that stuff. You know, that's good. Press a piece of plastic wrap directly on the surface of this and then get it in the fridge. It'll take 2 hours to completely chill, but you can leave it in there like 1 to 2 days. For your pavlova, you're gonna wanna make a template, and I just do that by tracing a 9-inch circle on a piece of parchment and then just turning it traced side down on my baking sheet. And you want to preheat your oven to 250 degrees. For this kind of meringue, what I like to do is mix together my sugar, which is 1 1/4 cups of sugar, with 4 teaspoons of cornstarch. The cornstarch is a stabilizer and is used to keep the meringue from weeping, and is in pretty much every Pavlova recipe I have ever made. It helps with the texture. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. It's supposed to go into the whites, but I'm just adding it to the sugar because that way I won't forget about it. Mix that in. And then those whites from before, that's 2 egg whites, add 3 more egg whites. This meringue or Pavlova recipe uses 5 egg whites. And you can save those yolks for something else, or you can feed them to your dog, or you can throw them away. Don't say I said that. You can freeze your egg yolks, you can freeze egg whites too. So if you ever have leftovers, you can freeze them. Just make sure that you make some kind of notation about how much it was. Otherwise, you're gonna have to weigh them when you take them out. You also need 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and I'm gonna get that ready so that I'm ready to just go straight through the recipe when I get there. All right. Egg whites go into your mixer. Turn your mixer on, and then I already added my salt to my sugar mixture, but the lemon juice is gonna go in with the egg whites. I like to do it once it breaks up just a little bit so that it's frothy. Add the lemon juice. Lemon juice adds acidity, which actually helps with the stability of your meringue. You see that they are becoming soft peaks. That's when you can start gradually adding your sugar. You don't want to add it too quickly or it will collapse your meringue. Peace and quiet. All of the sugar needs to dissolve. That's the real reason why you add your sugar in small increments, because you want to give the sugar opportunity to dissolve and to not break down the egg whites. 2 reasons. In order to anchor my paper down, I usually just use a little bit of the meringue underneath the paper. That will wash off really nicely. Some people use tape, but I don't like using tape because it leaves marks on my baking sheet. Also, you're like cooking plastic, right? That can't be healthy. Dollop your meringue. I do it pretty much in the center, and then I can spread it out with a spoon. So in the center of your 9-inch round. Meringue is a magical being. Think about it. It's actual science happening. And it's beautiful. I love making it. Then you want to smooth the meringue out towards the center, and a Pavlova generally has like a little divot in the center to fill with whatever you're going to fill it with, which is, for me, cranberry-curd-and-citrus. And this needs to bake until it will lift off of the paper. That'll take 1 hour and 10 to 1 hour and 20 minutes, and then turn off your oven and leave it in there until it's completely dry. Usually it takes just like another hour or so, but I don't know, up to 3 hours. Look how beautiful that is. It barely got any color. It has maybe the tiniest hint of color, and that's totally okay. It's beautiful. It's hard on the outside, but it's gonna be sort of like a marshmallowy texture on the inside. So lovely. Here's my cranberry curd, chilled. It's not too thick, so you can just give it a little stir and then spoon some into the center. I think I'll just go ahead and use all of it. I was a little hesitant. Sometimes you don't need it all. But this looks like the perfect amount because, well, we wrote the perfect recipe, obviously. And then this is some lightly whipped cream. You can add some vanilla. You can add a little hint of orange blossom water because I'm garnishing this with citrus, but you don't have to. It's optional. You want your whipped cream to be soft, but not so soft that it'll just ooze everywhere, because this gets an additional topping of supremed citrus, and you don't want it to just go like flying off the sides of the Pavlova. Whatever combination of citrus appeals to you. We have oranges, pink grapefruits, and ruby red grapefruits, but blood oranges are beautiful, tangerines, whatever you can get your hands on, and whatever tastes good to you. I'm a huge fan of grapefruits. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so beautiful. And the meringue can be made up to a day ahead. The curd can be made up to a day ahead. You could supreme the citrus a day ahead and keep them in the juice. Just make sure that you drain them off so they're not too wet, because that will cause kind of a puddle to explode on here. So you can dry them out. You can even pat them dry a little bit before you put them on here. I mean, some pomegranate seeds wouldn't be out of place here either, right? It's really beautiful, and pavlovas are actually super duper easy, but everybody will be wowed. Give this recipe a try. If you like recipes like this and you want more, make sure to click like and subscribe, because we have plenty more where this came from.